tackled costs in two main ways. First of all was to have a look at all of our functions throughout the group, from head office, so whether it be HR or supply chain or information management, and look to see how we could become more efficient in delivering those services to all of our business units. And that's a process we've started using a lot of international expertise, and it's certainly a process that we're not through with yet, but has already yielded some savings. And the other one was, of course, just to challenge our managing directors of all of our businesses and say, we need you to go and find better ways of doing things and come up with some business improvement plans. And collectively, in the 6 months, we've come up with 600 million rands in savings so far, and we believe this is sustainable. And there's more to come. There's more value to be gained from that.
Some of the divisions that came under pressure, Synfuels down 70%, your international Synfuels also under pressure, down 90%. How do you plan to turn those businesses around?
Well, starting with Synfuels in this country, which is a big facility, 160,000 barrel a day facility in Secunda, operationally it performed extremely well, both on costs and volume. So there's not a lot more we can do to that. We will assume that oil prices will creep up gradually, and currency effects will perhaps not be as severe into the future, but we'll continue with what we're doing, both on the cost and the volume side. And to that end, the board has made a very significant investment of about 12 billion rand to grow the Secunda facility by an equivalent of 5%, and of course that'll improve its profitability going forward as well.
Looking at the currency of the South African rand, many resource companies have been complaining about it, and they are hoping that we'll see rand weakness from here. But the reality of the matter is that we do have a volatile currency here in South Africa, and some investors say that business plans should be based on the assumption of a stronger rand as opposed to a weaker rand. What's your strategy going forward, considering that some are calling the rand at 6.90 rand as opposed to closer to 8 rand to the dollar?
Well, I think 6.90 is a little severe. That we wouldn't be as conservative as that, but we tend to be careful. We tend to be cautious, given this massive volatility that we see. So we plan for a fairly strong rand, and we must just cut the organisation to cope with that. But that's pretty much all we can do. We're not into rand hedging or anything of that nature. We must just improve the efficiency of the business, which we've started doing, and we will continue to do. But the single factor that makes us cautious in our outlook for the rest of this financial year is the rand, because 10 cents change means 800 million rand on our operating profit. So this is hugely volatile, so we must remain cautious because we don't know where the rand's going to go.
You mentioned China looking at Shenhua Sasol, which apparently has been postponed, reportedly been postponed due to some hesitation coming through from the Chinese government, and they said that they're preferring to look at locally developed technologies. How can you work around this? I mean, firstly, tell us if the reports are actually true.
There was some news flow last week regarding some competing technology to our coal to liquids technology in China. We had assurances as early or as late as this morning, if you like, from the Ningxia province where the plant is being built, that it's all systems go for our project. But there is a competing technology, and one will get news flows like this from time to time, but we're comfortable that everything seems to be on track. You've
also had a lot of negative news coming through on the Competition Commission front, and you have been cooperating quite extensively, but it seems that despite your cooperation, we have still seen a lot of negativity surrounding Sasol and, of course, allegations about price fixing. Give us your view on that, and when do you think all of this will be resolved? We've
had a huge effort, particularly last year, to review all our businesses all over the world, to really not leave one stone unturned in terms of whether there's any hint of non-compliance. So that's been a massive exercise that we've been through. We've improved our awareness, we've improved our training, we've improved our compliance system. So clearly the organisation is in a lot better space than it was a couple of years ago. But our approach was to openly cooperate with the Competition Commission. We've done so. We have a number of leniency applications in which we've already made public. The Competition Commissioner has a number of investigations into a number of industries in which we participate. So unfortunately, while we feel a lot more comfortable about where we are in compliance in general, there will be news flow as a number of these matters unfold, and they do take time. So very regretfully, our name will be associated with some bad news flow probably for some time to come. What we've assured all our stakeholders, though, is if there's any new material information to be said, we will make that public in a transparent way.
China is set to grow by 8% in 2010. We had some relatively positive jobs data out of the US, unemployment staying at 9.7%. So there is hope that we are going to be seeing a steady recovery in the US. Given that demand is picking up, what is your outlook for the oil price?
We find it very difficult to predict the oil price, as most people do. So we would see it staying in the band of probably $70 to $90 a barrel in the next year or two. Beyond that, and this is important, the dynamics as the world gets out of this recession over the next couple of years, we would see that the dynamics are such that the oil price would increase quite significantly. So as far as our long-term projects are concerned, we're a bit more bullish about the oil price than that.
Also looking at your oil hedge, and that also contributed positively to your results last year. Any plans to do further hedging?
We would love to do hedging as a risk mitigant to protect the downside, if you like, to make sure we have enough cash, which we obviously do at the moment, but our strategy is to make sure that we have enough cash to feed the cash flow requirements of our capital program. But unfortunately, I'm not sure whether the banks are telling us something. We can't get pricing that makes any sense. To protect the downside, we have to give away too much of the upside as things stand at the moment. But we'll continuously look at it and see how we go. If I can just come back to that oil price, we see oil price for the remainder of this financial year remaining certainly pretty much where it is at the moment. So for the full financial year for Sasol, it's only really just into the 70s. So that I don't want this $90 top end to be misinterpreted in any way.